Did you know that Trump once called Vietnam one of the fastest growing economies in the world and even a role model of prosperity?
Vietnamese economy is one of the fastest growing economies on earth.
Hello everyone and welcome to this new video. In today's topic we're gonna discuss about what can be the future for Vietnam since Trump has just been re-elected as the president of the United States. And what does this mean for some key sectors such as Vietnam manufacturing? But let me start with the disclaimer. The content of this video is based on sources like Vietnam Express, the Vietnam General Statistics Office and Economic Research Organization, and it aims to provide transparent information without any political bias. So what do you think about the future in the region, in Southeast Asia and specifically in Vietnam? Leave me your comments below. I'm keen to hear your thoughts. Also, make sure to subscribe so you won't miss any information about Vietnam and Southeast Asia. Let's dive into it. During Donald Trump's first term from 2017 to 2021, he implemented tough economic policies targeting China, most notably the US-China trade war. His strategy of imposing high tariffs on Chinese goods aimed to reduce imports from China and encourage domestic production in the US. However, the ripple effects of this trade war were felt worldwide and especially in Vietnam. The trade war not only boosted Vietnam's economy but also strengthened its tie between Vietnam and many other markets with trade relationships developing worldwide. So let's take a look at Vietnam's economic growth during Trump's presidency from 2017 to 2019. When the US-China trade war was full swing, many companies began moving their production out of China to avoid those healthy tariffs. And guess what? Vietnam became a top pick. Just look at these numbers. Vietnam's export to the US went from 41 billion US dollar in 2017 to 49 billion US dollar in 2018 and then shoot up to a massive 66 billion US dollar in 2019. Up 35% on year, but at this time US imports from Vietnam account for 2.7% on overall US imports in 2019. But it wasn't just about export. Foreign direct investment to Vietnam surged during the same time. In 2019, registered FDI hit 38 billion US dollar, up 7% from the previous year. So it was pretty clear that global investors were seeing Vietnam as a solid alternative to China. And when it comes to product categories, furniture and textiles specifically saw impressive growth. In furniture, the sector bumped up along by 34% and textiles rose up by 7% in 2019. These numbers paint a clear picture on how those trade wars opened the door for Vietnam, making it a hotspot for businesses looking for a new base outside of China. But this shift wasn't only due to Trump administration policies, it was also influenced by COVID-19 lockdown at this time. With people staying at home and relying a lot more on online shopping, demand of goods, surge and disruption in China's supply chain pushed companies to diversify their manufacturing bases. And Vietnam's position as one of the most suitable China Plus One strategy gained a lot of momentum during these years. With Trump now re-elected, these tax policies become one of the pivotal angles of his new campaign. He has proposed tariffs as high as 60% on Chinese goods, far exceeding the average 2% tariff that the US applies to non-agricultural products from other countries. This represents the highest level of protectionism ever since against China, aiming to reduce global supply chain resilience on China while promoting domestic production or sourcing from other countries. But here is how this policy can reshape the global supply chain. First, as a manufacturing shift, many companies are already seeking to relocate out of China to avoid high tariffs, and Vietnam stands out as a prime destination for companies looking for low production costs and stable investment climates. Regarding supply chain strategies, companies already restructured their production network to diversify their supply chain and mitigate risks from US protectionist policies. Vietnam has significantly benefited from this US-China trade war, while many companies were looking to diversify their supply chain and look to manufacture goods in Vietnam rather than in China. According to data from Vietnam Express and reports by Vina Capital, in the first 7 months of 2024, Vietnam's export to the US surged by 20% year-on-year, reaching nearly 66 billion in the first 9 months of 2024, the highest in history for a trade relationship. The demand for production relocation has spurred growth in Vietnam industrial parks, and according to the Ministry of Planning and Investment, Vietnam currently has about 375 industrial parks, with regions like Binh Nhung, Bac Ninh seeing the highest occupancy rates, close to 90%. Notably, companies such as Apple and Samsung have begun diversifying their manufacturing operations in Vietnam to mitigate risks associated with their reliance on Chinese factories. As US and other international companies are facing higher import duties from made-in-China goods, Vietnam emerged as an attractive alternative. Let's take a closer look at some of the key advantages that Vietnam offers. First, about the cost of production. Vietnam has a lower labor cost compared to many countries in the region, making it a practical choice for businesses seeking alternatives to China. For instance, garment manufacturing are finding Vietnam's labor cost about 30% lower than China, which enhance profit margins. Second aspect is its geographical proximity. Being close to China allows Vietnam to maintain existing supply chain while moving production. This geographical advantage has enabled companies like Nike to transition smoothly production lines efficiently. Third criteria, it's about its manufacturing experience, and on some key sectors, Vietnam is still a good player to manufacture apparel, textile, furniture, indoor, outdoor, or even home decor. Vietnam also has a strong manufacturing capabilities in metal manufacturing or electronics, and this experience has attracted brands like Intel and LG, who are expanding their operations in the country. Fourth aspect is about its political stability. Vietnam, with a one-party government, offers stability to businesses seeking to grow and to expand within the country. Vietnam's also open economic policies and its recent reforms have improved the business climate, making it easier for foreign companies to set up and to grow their operations. Fifth and last advantage of Vietnam is because its country has signed numerous free trade agreements with several countries. We can mention the CPTPP, that is a comprehensive and progressive agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, or the EVFTA for European companies to strengthen its ties and boost import-export businesses between these regions. Now, given Trump his well-known characteristic, an assertive ego, ambitious leadership style, and a vocal media presence, make Vietnam's rapid economic growth an attractive prospect for him as both a businessman and investor. His affinity for winning deals aligns with Vietnam's potential for high return, while its independence from China taps into his agenda of diversifying Americans' interest in the region. A notable example of Trump's interest in Vietnam extends beyond the general appeal it holds for American businesses. Recently, the Trump Organization partnered with King Bang Urban Development Corporation on a $1.5 billion project in Hưng Yên, northern Vietnam, signaling a direct personal investment in Vietnamese industrial growth. This partnership reflects more than just business. It demonstrates Trump's eyes for opportunity and a proactive approach to emerging markets. And in the end, it will strengthen Vietnam as a go-to destination to do business and to invest, either for American companies looking to diversify the supply chain and manufacturing. It sends a strong signal to other major US corporations that investing in Vietnam is not just about a strategic move, but a commitment to a nation poised for significant growth on the global stage. Now, with Trump re-elected, we might be looking at higher tariffs on China sticking around, which could really boost Vietnam's role in the global supply chain or create challenges within the country. Here is what we could expect for the next upcoming months and trimester. As companies start relocating from China, we could see industries like electronics and textile pulling in more investment to Vietnam. As the Trump Organization itself may consider investing in Vietnam, tapping in one of the growing markets and contributing to its development, they could also encourage other US companies to follow suit, creating a ripple effect of investment in the Vietnam industrial park. Also, with those tariffs making Chinese goods pricier, it may boost the export demand of made in Vietnam goods and boost its appeal from US consumers. But it's important for Vietnam to keep an eye on potential risks. Any changes in the US trade policies or economic conditions could directly impact Vietnam's export levels. If trade rules change or if there is a shift in demand, Vietnam could face significant dip in purchasing, which could not only affect exporters but also have a broader implications for the local economy, including job losses and slower economic growth. Currently, made in Vietnam's products are only accounting for 3% of the total goods that the US are importing. This relatively small percentage indicates that there is still ample room for growth. Just imagine if the US were able to increase made in Vietnam product imports by just 1 or 2%, that would create a massive boost for Vietnam exports. A small shift in the US policy could mean a larger share for American market for Vietnam's products, translating into increasing production, jobs creation and overall economic vitality. So, in a nutshell, while Vietnam's look like a solid alternative to China for manufacturing, tackling their challenges is going to be the key points for growth to make the most out of it. So what do you think about the potential impact from this Trump re-election? Do you think it's going to boost business in Southeast Asia and specifically in countries like Vietnam? I'm keen to hear your thoughts and ideas about that. Feel free to drop us a comment below so we can discuss about your respective ideas and our thoughts. If you enjoyed the video, leave a thumbs up and I see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye bye.
Been down and I'ma get it right. Dead on sight like